Liam, a bright and creative individual, often felt misunderstood. In school, he struggled to focus in class, frequently fidgeted, and sometimes blurted out answers. He was labeled as disruptive or not trying hard enough. Later in life, he received an ADHD diagnosis, which provided some explanation but didn't fully capture his experience. He wondered if the common understanding of ADHD truly reflected the nuances of the condition. Have you or someone you know ever felt that the typical descriptions of ADHD didn't quite fit the reality? Liam's experience touches upon a crucial point. While our understanding of ADHD has evolved significantly, there's ongoing research that suggests we might still be missing key aspects of this neurodevelopmental condition. The idea that they got ADHD all wrong might be an overstatement, but it highlights the need for a more nuanced and comprehensive perspective. The traditional view of ADHD. A brief overview. Traditionally, ADHD has been characterized by a persistent pattern of inattention and/or hyperactivity impulsivity that interferes with functioning or development. These symptoms are often what diagnostic criteria focus on. Inattention, difficulty sustaining attention, easily distracted, forgetful, struggles with organization. Hyperactivity and impulsivity, excessive fidgeting, restlessness, talking excessively, difficulty waiting their turn, interrupting others. This framework, while helpful, sometimes paints a picture of a child, or adult, who simply can't pay attention or control their impulses. However, emerging research suggests the reality might be more complex. The wrong aspects. Rethinking ADHD. Where might our understanding of ADHD be incomplete or potentially wrong? Not just a deficit of attention. Some researchers argue that ADHD isn't primarily a deficit of attention but rather a problem with regulating attention. Individuals with ADHD might struggle to focus on tasks they find uninteresting but can hyperfocus intensely on things that captivate them. Scientific observation. The phenomenon of hyperfocus in ADHD challenges the simple attention deficit model. Beyond hyperactivity. While hyperactivity is a prominent symptom, particularly in childhood, it can manifest differently in adults, e.g., internal restlessness. Also, some individuals primarily present with inattentive symptoms, ADHD, predominantly inattentive presentation. Variability in presentation. The heterogeneity of ADHD symptoms underscores the need for a broader understanding. Emotional dysregulation. Increasingly, research highlights emotional dysregulation as a core feature of ADHD. This involves difficulties in managing and modulating emotional responses. Scientific evidence. Studies show that individuals with ADHD often experience more intense emotions and have greater difficulty regulating them. Executive function deficits. ADHD is often linked to deficits in executive functions, cognitive skills needed for planning, organization, working memory, and impulse control. These deficits go beyond just attention and hyperactivity. Neuropsychological findings. Neuropsychological testing often reveals challenges in various executive function domains in individuals with ADHD. The science behind the rethinking. What scientific evidence supports these evolving perspectives? Neuroimaging studies. Brain imaging studies have shown differences in brain structure and function in individuals with ADHD, particularly in areas involved in attention, executive functions, and emotional processing. These differences aren't just about attention networks. Brain connectivity. Research is exploring how connectivity between different brain regions might be atypical in ADHD. Cognitive neuroscience research. Studies using cognitive tasks reveal specific difficulties in areas like working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility in people with ADHD. Clinical observations. Clinicians are increasingly recognizing the significant impact of emotional dysregulation on the lives of individuals with ADHD. Liam, for instance, recognized the description of emotional dysregulation as particularly fitting his experience. He often felt emotions intensely and struggled to manage his reactions. The wrong labeling. The idea that they got ADHD all wrong might also refer to the historical and sometimes current tendency to view ADHD primarily as a behavioral issue, rather than a neurodevelopmental condition with biological underpinnings. This can lead to blaming individuals for their symptoms rather than providing appropriate support and understanding. Moving towards a more accurate understanding. A more accurate and helpful understanding of ADHD acknowledges the complexity and heterogeneity of the condition. The importance of executive function deficits and emotional dysregulation alongside inattention and hyperactivity impulsivity. The neurobiological basis of ADHD. Scientific studies in detail. Let's look at some scientific studies that support these points. A review article in The Lancet Psychiatry discussed the evolving conceptualization of ADHD, highlighting the role of executive functions and emotional dysregulation. Neuroimaging research using fMRI, such as studies published in Biological Psychiatry, has identified altered brain networks involved in attention, inhibition, and emotional processing in individuals with ADHD. Studies using cognitive tasks, like the Stroop test and working memory tasks, consistently show differences in performance between individuals with and without ADHD, pointing to executive function deficits. Liam's journey. Understanding that his difficulties weren't just about a lack of effort but were rooted in neurodevelopmental differences was validating for Liam. It helped him and those around him approach his challenges with more empathy and focus on strategies that addressed his specific needs, including emotional regulation techniques and executive function support. The perplexity of diagnosis. Because ADHD can present so differently in various individuals and across the lifespan, diagnosis can be complex and requires a comprehensive assessment. Rethinking ADHD. While the traditional focus on inattention and hyperactivity impulsivity remains important, scientific research suggests that our understanding of ADHD needs to be broader. Key aspects like difficulties in regulating attention, not just a deficit, the varying presentations of hyperactivity, the significant role of emotional dysregulation, and underlying executive function deficits are increasingly recognized as central to the condition. Viewing ADHD as a neurodevelopmental condition with these multifaceted challenges is crucial for more accurate diagnosis, greater understanding, and more effective support for individuals with ADHD. Perhaps it's not that they got it all wrong, but rather that our understanding is continually evolving to be more complete and nuanced.